Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of The Brian Kelly Show. Coach, your team is 9-0, alone atop the ACC standings with wins over the two ranked ACC teams on your schedule, Clemson and North Carolina. You now firmly control your postseason destiny. How do you handle being in this situation?
Well, this is what we've asked for, so I think it's more about, how you got here is how you'll stay here. And that is continue to do the things that you've done leading up to this point. And that is stick with your process. They have prepared so well, Jack, this year. Continue in that preparation. And then when it's time to play, really flip that switch to a competitive mindset. We've seen the integration of their process in terms of during the week, a great attention to detail, and then playing fearless on Saturdays. They play fast, they play free, and they play without any hesitation. So continue that process and continue to build. We've got a lot of really big games in front of us, and Syracuse allows us to clinch the opportunity to play for an ACC championship. So pretty big game for us, and the last one for our seniors at home. So a lot riding on this one.
You are coming off a very impressive performance by your team on both sides of the ball in the win at North Carolina. Now, all the outside observers thought this game was going to be a shootout offensively, but after the first quarter, you controlled the tempo of the game the rest of the way while holding Carolina to just 3 points. Is that what you expected heading into the game?
Yeah, I think, you never go into the game with an expectation. We don't look at it like many observers look at the over, the under, and the point spread and things of that nature. That's, we're coaches. So, we're perfectionists in the sense that we're thinking of shutout and we're thinking about scoring every time we touch the football. So, from that perspective, it turned out the way we thought it would. We probably play a little bit better on offense. Probably shouldn't have given up a couple of big plays on defense. But, I really thought our plan was excellent. And we expected our players to execute it well. And if they did, we thought we could play this well, and we certainly did.
Now, a lot was made going into the game, and rightfully so, of the loss of center Jarrett Patterson and right guard Tommy Kramer for the North Carolina game. While not flawless, Zeke Correll at center and Josh Lugg at right guard stepped into those starting roles and played very well. Did they meet your expectations?
Oh, they certainly did. They played winning football. I think it's more, Jack, about the guys around them getting a sense and feel for their style of play, which is different than Jarrett's and Tommy's. And so Aaron has to understand how Zeke plays, which is a little bit different. And then Josh has to understand a little bit, how he can complement the center as well. So if we evaluate it, these two guys can play championship football, and we can ride them right to a national championship. This will be much more about complementing them as the new players stepping in, more than whether they're capable of playing at the highest level. And that will be the thing that we work on this week.
Folks, the Irish made a boatload of big plays in the win over North Carolina. Coach Kelly and I will dive into the cargo hold and break down all those plays when we return right after this timeout on The Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. It's time now for our game breakdown, brought to you by Canon. Brian, we will talk a lot about your offense in this game, but we have to start our breakdown with your defense. A defense that began to assert itself in the second quarter and dominated North Carolina in the second half. What changed after the first quarter?
I think a lot of it had to do with just getting settled into the game, changing things up. And then, look, you got to be able to stop the run on a thinner box. In other words, we didn't have the extra hat in the box. We committed it to the back end of our defense to take away some of the throws. And that was ultimately the difference in this game, our ability to stop the run with two outstanding running backs.
Now, your first scoring drive to tie the game at 7 covered 75 yards on 9 plays, and the big play was an 18-yard run by Ian Book to the Carolina 7-yard line.
Yeah, again, I think Ian has done a really good job. They really were adding an extra player into the secondary, which gave Ian plenty of time. But when things weren't open, he was able to use his feet. And that's the great thing about a quarterback like this. If he doesn't see something open, he's going to use his feet, and he used it to our advantage.
After Carolina takes a 14-7 lead, your guys answer with a drive of big plays, with the first play of the drive, a 43-yard pass to Javon McKinley.
Yeah, Javon was big for us. You know, Javon and Ben have really established themselves now as big play guys out on the perimeter. These are big body guys that will go up and get the football. And I think now, you know, Ian's just going to put the ball in a position where Javon can go up and get it. He's going to make those big plays for us. And those big chunk plays have really accelerated this offense.
Ian again uses his feet, this time to keep the play alive before finding Kyron Williams for a 4-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, we had a poor snap there. You know, Zeke, in his first start, he did a great job. Ian did a great job of picking it up, maintaining his poise, and finding Kyron Williams out on the right flat, and we got it into the end zone. It was a really, really good play. Showed a veteran in that situation, how to handle himself.
Now, we would be remiss if we did not mention punter Jay Bramlett, who did a great job flipping the field in this game, including a 51-yard punt in the second quarter that pinned the Tar Heels back at their 3-yard line.
Jay was outstanding, flipped field position, kept us in a really good situation early on when we were struggling.
Now, Carolina then pins you back at your 3-yard line, but Ian Book and your offense marched 97 yards down the field to go ahead and take control of the game.
That was the drive of the game, and to go 97 yards, obviously put us in a great position. It was that drive. I think that was probably the one moment where I know the confidence level was really high with our football team.
Speaking of confidence level, there's a play on this drive that did not make anyone's highlight reel. 4th and 1 from your own 24 in a tie game, and you line up as if you are going to go for it, and you get Carolina to jump off sides to keep the drive alive, which means they thought you might actually snap the ball.
Well, maybe we're going to, who knows?
It really shows your confidence in this offense, though, even if you were going to snap the ball.
Yeah, certainly it's something that we work on, right? I mean, we're in a longer cadence. We have a play attached to it, so we can run the play if we want to run the play. It's part of, the discipline, as you mentioned, Jack, that you need in these kinds of ball games.
I don't think the Tar Heels expected Ben Skoranek to get the ball on an end around from the 13-yard line, a play that resulted in the go-ahead score.
Part of what we're trying to establish within our offense is not only misdirection, but, what our formations can spring on you. But you need certainly the ability to capture that edge, and we were in a good position to do so.
On Inside Notre Dame Football, we rarely show an offensive play from a drive that does not result in a score. But we have to talk about Ian Book's 3rd and 6 scramble and the backhanded flip ahead to Michael Mayer for 11 yards and a first down early in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty big play. I thought it was going to keep this drive alive. It was, one of those things that you don't practice. It just, you got to feel it. And, Ian Book is in that position right now where he really feels it. He's got a lot of confidence in his ability to make plays.
Now, you don't score on that drive, but your defense continues to dominate, and you get the ball back with 5:52 left, and Kyron Williams starts off your clinching drive with a big 47-yard run.
Great blocking, receivers, tight ends, offensive line, everybody does their job, and Kyron gives us a big chunk play that puts us in a great position to run out the clock.
And you have a road win over a ranked team for victory number 9 on the season.
A great victory all around, in terms of all 3 phases. As we mentioned, defensively, pitching a shutout in the second half against a very explosive offense. Offensively, having those 2 big drives that were physical, that were based upon, controlling the line of scrimmage. And then no turnovers, not turning the football over and only giving up that big play in the first half. A complete victory on the road against a top 20 opponent.
There were so many big plays by Notre Dame on both sides of the football against North Carolina that it was not easy to select just a few for Coach Kelly to break down this week, but we did it, and we will hand the video controls over to the Irish head coach when we return on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. Well, folks, so much for 60-degree football game days. It's time to start thinking about tires, winter tires. Our friends at TireRack.com, presenting sponsors of the Brian Kelly Show, have what's right for you. Headquartered just a few minutes from Notre Dame Stadium, their experts know a thing or two about driving through winter's worst. And when they're not driving in it, they're on their test track or sliding around on the ice at a local hockey rink for winter tire testing. Also, you can get your tires right. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. It's time now for Irish Intel, sponsored by the experts at TireRack.com. This is where we let Coach control the video and get into the X's and O's of why a play worked. Coach, our first play this week is your second touchdown of the game when Ian Book keeps the play alive with a great scramble before finding Kyron Williams with a pass for the touchdown that ties the game at 14.
Well, Jack, the scramble starts with a poor snap here, but Ian gets it, keeps it alive. You can see that he uses the what we call the Montana spin, where he gives ground to gain ground and finds Kyron Williams coming out of the backfield on a great throw. And Kyron finds the end zone, dives for the pylon, and makes a great play out of what could have been a disastrous situation on the 5-yard line. So that's where Ian Book uses his, again, savvy, veteran leadership, call it whatever you want, calm under pressure, turns a potentially bad situation into a touchdown.
Coach, our next play is a huge tackle for loss by game ball recipient Drew White on the opening possession of the second half.
Yeah, this is a great play by Drew. Drew sees the RPO action here where there's a puller. You can see the right guard pull. That window opens as the center blocks back, and Drew is not going to wait for this. He takes it right now, and he sees that open B gap, and just does a great job of running down the back. And with this tackle for a loss, these are the little things in the game that now takes their offense out of rhythm, because now they can't run their run play action, because play action does not work on 2nd and 15. Drew White got the game ball, but his instincts and reads on this was all about film study and seeing this play over and over during the week and knowing exactly what to do.
Coach, our final play this week is your go-ahead touchdown in the third quarter on the run by the speedy Ben Skoranek.
There's inside pressure. We bring the short motion and we hand it off to Ben, and then we get great blocking on the perimeter. You can see all the way out here to the perimeter. And then Ben has got really good speed. As we know, he can run by people. He did that for the last 5-6 weeks. Again, we have been using this formation to run the ball up inside. So there's really a clean perimeter for us when we hand this off. We get a couple of nice blocks set by the tight ends and Tommy Tremble and Mayer and Brock Wright. And he gets the edge, and it's just find your way to the end zone.
And that will do it for this week's Irish Intel segment. Next, Bill Reese will join me to give us a scouting report on the Syracuse team the Irish will face this weekend. That's coming up right after this quick timeout on the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com. It's time now for our weekly segment with Notre Dame Director of Scouting, Bill Reese. And Bill, this is the segment in the show each week where we throw in some of the breaking news. So congratulations. You are already in the ACC championship game. I know that doesn't alter how you approach this Saturday, but certainly how does that change things for this team and maybe for your job right now?
Well, it really doesn't change a whole lot. We were certainly looking forward to playing Syracuse and clinching with a victory. It's nice of the ACC to move things along, but the opponent that we go against every week is ourselves. We want to continue to improve, continue to get better, and it's exciting that we now know that we're going to be playing on the 19th.
I think one of the many reasons why the ACC felt comfortable making this determination even before the Syracuse game and allowing you not to play Wake Forest the week before the championship game was how well you played against the two ranked teams on your schedule from the ACC. First of all, of course, beating Clemson in overtime. But last week, a very impressive win at North Carolina. Not only did the offense play well, but everybody thought that game was going to be a shootout. They thought Notre Dame would win, but it was going to be 52-47 or something like that. But after that first quarter, the Notre Dame defense absolutely shut down the number one total offense team in the conference, both in the second quarter and throughout the second half. In the second half, you only gave up 78 yards to the Tar Heels. That surprised a lot of observers across the country. Why did the Irish defense have so much success against North Carolina?
It was really a combination of factors, and I think it would really start with the game plan itself. Coach Lee and the defensive coaches had an absolutely terrific plan, and I think it really starts up front with the physicality that we enjoyed with our front four, our linebackers, just the amount of pressure that we were able to put on Sam Howell. I don't think he ever really got comfortable. I don't think he ever really was able to set his feet, scan the field like he had been able to do in previous games. And then the back end, I thought really played well. I thought the corners, once we got settled in, really did a nice job in press coverage, playing off. And then the safeties also played their assignments perfectly. They took away the posts. They were able to get help when they were dropping down underneath. And we did it without Kyle Hamilton. So it really a tip of the cap to the entire defensive staff and the defensive players who really rose to the occasion.
Now, the leading tackler in the game for the Irish was, again, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah with 9. On the season, he has 44 tackles and leads the team in tackles for loss with 8.5. And this week was named a semifinalist for the prestigious Butkus Award as the nation's top linebacker. Bill, the rover position seems perfect for Jeremiah, but he has a skill set that would make him successful just about anywhere you play him on the field.
Well, that's true. And the rover position is really a hybrid between a linebacker and a safety, and it really fits Jeremiah very, very well. He can blitz, he can cover. He does an excellent job when he's on the line of scrimmage or if he's stacked off the ball. Outstanding instincts, a burst to the ball. Again, Coach Lee has done a great job of utilizing his talents. He'll put him on the line of scrimmage and let him rush at times as well. He has that kind of versatility, and he's certainly very deserving of any type of award that might come his way.
Now, there's no question the defense deserves all of the attention it's getting for another outstanding performance last Saturday, but the offense, as we mentioned, turned in a very good performance as well. Playing Carolina can be a little bit like playing a triple option team. And when Notre Dame went 3-and-out to start the game and Carolina answered with the first touchdown of the game, well, the pressure was on a little bit, but the Irish offense never blinked. What does that say about the makeup of this year's Notre Dame offense?
The offense is a very mature group. It's a very poised group and very resilient. There have been a number of times during this season where we have answered offensively with touchdowns. No matter what game, really, we've always had an opportunity to answer, and they have done that very consistently. And I think it's a belief and an understanding and a confidence in what they're doing. And the execution of the offense really reflects that. And, they've really done a great job of responding, when other teams have scored.
Now, the offense also earned a number of awards this week, led by Ian Book, who passed for 279 yards and a touchdown in the game while rushing for 48 yards on 8 carries. That performance earned him a place on the O'Brien Award Great 8 list for the 3rd week in a row and the 4th time this season. Bill, it appears that Ian is finally getting his due as one of the best college quarterbacks in the country.
Well, within the Goog, he's always been looked at as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he's been absolutely fantastic. Expectations are high for him, and he has lived up to them, exceeded them in many cases, and it's exciting to see him playing his best football as his career is starting to wind down, and we're getting into some very big and important games at the end of the year.
Well, we've talked before about part of your job is to also scout potential recruits. So you had to feel really good about how some of the second teamers on the offensive line stepped up. The Irish had to play without Jarrett Patterson, the center, right guard Tommy Kramer against Carolina, but Zeke Correll and Josh Lugg. Lugg seems to be able to play every position, filled in admirably, and the rest of the line played up to their high standard, including Liam Eichenberg. Eichenberg was named the ACC's co-offensive lineman of the week, the second time he has been honored by the league this season.
Well, a couple of things. Liam and Rob Hainsey have really been very consistent, very good all year, as has Banks at left guard. And really, Lugg has played a lot of football at Notre Dame. He's played a lot of different positions. Everyone was very confident in his ability to step in and replace Tommy Kramer. And everyone is very high on Zeke Correll. He is athletic. He's got an edge to him. He's very smart. He made some terrific blocks on Saturday. He's got a bright future at Notre Dame. And, we're really excited. Those two guys got some experience and performed so well against Carolina.
Now, the line loves blocking for Kyron Williams, and I just talked with Kyron. He loves running behind this year's offensive line. Kyron turned in another great performance against North Carolina, rushing for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns, while also catching 4 passes for 20 yards and another touchdown to earn his 4th ACC Running Back of the Week award and his first appearance on the Football Writers Association Fresh 4 list. Kyron has made the most of his first opportunity to be the starting running back at Notre Dame this season. And Bill, incredibly, he still has 4 full years of eligibility remaining since the COVID year. This year does not count as a year played under NCAA rules. Kyron was well regarded, but he wasn't a 5-star. Most of the things I saw wasn't really a 4-star, but he's been so successful. He's one of the best running backs in the whole country. Did you foresee this kind of success for him?
Well, it's really hard when we projected him just where he would fit and how quickly he would make an impact. And, it became really apparent in the off season that this was a very driven, very motivated player, wanted to be, the best and wanted to be the starting running back at Notre Dame. And he worked his tail off. He got into great shape. He has so many skills. He can make so many people miss in the hole. He can accelerate. He's a guy that can cut back along the line of scrimmage. Excellent hands. It'd be great if we could have him for 4 more years. That would be outstanding.
On to Saturday's opponent, Bill. Syracuse was expected to struggle this year and may have played even worse than anticipated so far. However, they do seem to be improving over the last month or so, and they gave NC State a scare on Saturday. As you put together the scouting report for Syracuse, what jumped out at you as things Notre Dame needs to be ready for on Saturday?
Probably the first thing is when you look at the film against the better opponents they have played, they have been in those games, and they play really hard. They're a team that has an aggressiveness to them. They play with a chip on their shoulder, especially on defense. They've gone to a 3-3-5 defense, which gets more speed on the field. They're doing a nice job of mixing things up with a 3 down front, 4 down front, and they blitz and they come at a lot of different angles. 2 really good corners on defense, good speed at linebacker. So when they have matched up against, the better teams, in the conference, they've done a nice job. Now on offense, it's been a struggle, and it started at quarterback when they lost DeVito, who was the starter, and now they've had to go down to their second and third quarterbacks. And so that's put them behind the 8 ball offensively. But like a lot of these Syracuse teams of the past, they have outstanding receivers. They've got very good speed on the outside. Taj Harris is one of the best receivers in the ACC. Tucker is a young running back, a true freshman, but he has really flashed and has run well again against the better competition in the ACC. So, it'll be a big game for them in that they're coming to Notre Dame and they're going to try to, pull out every resource they have to make this, a game that they can be competitive in.
Now it's a big game for Notre Dame too. It's senior day, an unusual one, but it is still in fact senior day because everyone is not going to come back next year. And of course, you want to keep getting better. You're in the title game for the ACC championship. And certainly the hope and the likelihood is you'll be in the playoffs. So you want to use every game to get better. I know that's how this team approaches it. And you don't want to back off even if you're expected to win handily. So in your mind, what does this Notre Dame team need to do to play the way they want to play and finish off the regular season?
Well, we want to play with that physical edge that we've had all year on offense, defense, and in special teams. We've done a great job all year of covering kicks with a real aggressive demeanor. So, we really want to continue that. That's our identity. And I don't foresee us taking the, foot off the pedal at all this Saturday. We're going to play to our potential and play to our best. And, we want the team to continue to get better, individuals to continue to grow. And, it's another game and we want to be 1-0 when the week is over.
As always, a pleasure, Bill. We'll be back next week. I look forward to that. I know you will just be beginning, although knowing you, you've already got ACC championship game scouting reports beginning to put that together, but we'll talk about that next week. So thanks so much for always bringing your A game to this radio show.
Thanks, Jack. Enjoyed it.
We'll be back with more of the Brian Kelly Show, presented by the experts at TireRack.com right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. One of the most popular Notre Dame football movies of all time features a Notre Dame walk-on named Rudy, who got into one game during his Irish career. One of the most successful walk-ons in Notre Dame history, arrived on campus in the fall of 2015 and left 5 seasons later as a starting wide receiver and captain. This week, Coach Kelly catches up with Chris Fink.
Chris Fink.
What's up, Coach Kelly?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good to see you. Where are you?
I'm back in Dayton, Ohio. I just got cut on Friday from the Niners, so I just got home on Sunday.
What? Get me on the phone. Who do I got to talk to?
Yeah, I know. They were bringing in a veteran guy who'd been there before because they wanted a guy with game experience in case of COVID emergency. Which is I understand. Wasn't because of my poor performance or anything, so that's
right. Right.
And,
yeah,
I felt like I was doing well while I was there, so I feel like I, at least proved to myself that I can compete.
Good. Well, you certainly can. So, from your perspective, did you get any opportunity to, get any film or anything like that in preseason? Do they have any film of you?
No, because
of the injury.
Yeah, injury. I got sent home like right before camp started because they had to get camp numbers down to 80 instead of 90.
Yeah.
Then they brought me back like week 8, and then whatever week it is now, like 12 or 13.
So you were out there. You were out there for about a month.
Yeah. So I got some good practices in, and did some good things. I thought that it was funny. Like a half hour before they cut me, I got scout team, special teams player of the week. So I was feeling good, and then feeling pretty bad.
Well,
yeah, it's all good.
Listen, think of it this way. It's kind of like if you're in the public sector or you're working for a company or corporation, it's like not getting that first promotion, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. You're a little disappointed, but you're going to come back the next day and you'll get another shot. So stay positive. You know how that goes, even looking at Notre Dame football, right? I mean, where you ended up, captain, and a huge impact player for us. If you want to keep chasing this, I would keep chasing it.
No, I am. I'm staying ready. I appreciate that, Coach.
Good. Well, it's good to see you, man. I'll tell you what, we've got nobody on our team that can do the Macarena on the sidelines.
No?
It's awful. I mean, we just don't have the same vibe. I mean, we got plenty of guys who can catch better than you, that can run better than you, that are part of Wapu Nation. Because we got Salerno back there, you know.
I know. I'm excited for Salerno. It's been, I've been texting with him throughout the offseason. He told me that he might have the opportunity to go back there and get some punts. So I was fired up for him. And then USF wouldn't punt to him first game, but.
Well, that's the narrative that's been floated by Wapu Nation. You know what I mean? And so we're going to have to go with that.
Yeah. But no, he's doing a good job back there, catching everything and doing. So I love seeing him out there.
But he's got, I don't know what you guys feed, the first year Wapu guys, but he's got the same surly attitude that you did. Like, don't tell me I can't do it. Like, so
yeah, Salerno's got that in him. He plays pretty fiery.
Yeah. The only difference is he's from California. So, I mean, that's a little bit different. He's not from Ohio.
Not
you guys
the Midwest guy.
Not a Midwest guy. You guys are getting crushed with snow?
It snowed the last 2 days, yeah, which is I kind of like it. I like snow. Looks nice. Get the Christmas music going. Exactly.
So what will you do now? Will you just work out and stay ready? How did they leave it with you? Is there a chance that you would go back?
Yeah, still waiting on that. There is a chance. The season is kind of winding down here, but got a call from my agent today. There's possibly a chance with the team to get on the practice roster before the end of the season. He's going to follow up and let me know. And then if not, there's things they do like weeks 15, 16, 17, like futures workouts. I don't know if you
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Hopefully get to worst case scenario, get to one of those, and then basically just like secure a camp spot for next year if I do well enough at that. So
Right. No, I know the futures workouts are great because you can sign and that gets you a spot in next year. And who knows? I mean, it's so crazy. I mean, who knows what the numbers are going to look like relative to next year, but you came out in a situation where the numbers are so off. It's probably the most difficult time.
Yeah, really weird year to be an undrafted free agent for sure. But
it's I think from a football standpoint, I don't know how it was for you, but I'm so proud of the guys here, the way they handled themselves in a very, very difficult situation. And as you know, what they have to commit to, right? I mean, they have to give up so much anyway, and to be able to go through a pandemic, and they've had 12 weeks now of negative tests. It's pretty amazing given the circumstances.
Yeah, you guys have had it handled super well, which is really good to see. I like watching Notre Dame football on Saturdays, so I know everybody's playing it. So as long as y'all can keep that going, it's been a really good season for you guys, which, it's at first was weird for me to sit on my couch and watch on a Saturday, but I'm a little used to it. And I'm having a lot of fun. I know you guys are.
Well, I mean, I think the protocols and procedures that we put in place are pretty stringent. I mean, in terms of plexiglass between the guys.
In the locker room?
Oh, yeah, and when they eat, two to a table. We go downtown now to the city center is where we have our meals. All we do is sleep in single rooms now. I mean, it's a whole different environment from that perspective. The locker rooms, we use 3 different locker rooms because we use the stadium. We use an area in the IAC and then the regular locker room just to keep the numbers down. So it's been a juggling, scenario, but the guys have, like I said, they could moan about it and complain. But they've done a really good job of fighting through it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll bet it's tough. I mean, it's probably real tough for whoever was figuring out how to accommodate for all the stuff you had to do and figure out all the protocols and all that. And then, I'm sure it's been tough on the guys a little bit, but everything that I hear from all the guys, they're not complaining. They're just, happy to be playing ball and happy to be 9-0.
Yeah. They're happy to be 9-0 and they get, I don't know if you saw what happened, but we're in the ACC championship.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So now the job at hand is to win on Saturday, And if they win on Saturday, they'll be the winningest group in a 4-year period of any group in the history of Notre Dame football, 41-6. Yeah, so you were part of that, obviously. So pretty impressive run for this group. So
that's special. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ian will be the all-time winningest quarterback in the history of Notre Dame.
I
For
know
all the
that.
crap that he got, right? He's going to be 30-3 and then undefeated at home at like 15-0. So good for him.
Oh my gosh, I know. I saw him talking about that on the broadcast last week, and it's like kind of crazy thing. We think about all the quarterbacks from Notre Dame that
I know
more wins than. And then I love you talking to the media, just telling him he's a straight up winner, and everybody can forget all their other criticisms they want to say. He just wins ball games.
I want to say more, but I do that later.
Yeah.
I was just on Scott Van Pelt's show. That's going to be on tonight, and he was asking me. I'm like, I'm really tired of this talk about guys that are in the Heisman, like Kyle Trask. Who is he? Like Ian Book's been around for 4 years, and he's won 30 games. I mean, these guys they're one and done guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian Book has been here for 4 years. So And anyway, it is what it is. But so we got Syracuse at home on December 5th, and they're saying it might be like 42 degrees. So that's going to be like bonus for us. We thought it was going to be like 10 degrees out. So we're pretty excited. Yeah, it's going to be great. So senior day will be a little bit different. Nobody's running out. So that's all different.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So that's all different. Now it's only faculty and staff, so I didn't want them to get booed when they ran out if it was just faculty. I mean, a guy like you, I could send you out, with your high GPA, but, I start sending Lee and Eichenberg out, I got a problem. But, so they'll do pictures and stuff with their family after. But it's been different. Even the alma mater. Have you seen how we had to sing
it's that? Like in FSA lines, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's really weird.
So weird.
Now, where are you living? Are you at home?
Yeah, I just got back to Dayton. I'm at my parents' house.
Cool.
My brother and one of my sisters are home too for the holiday season. So.
Well, great. Well, please tell them I said hello, would you?
I will. Yeah.
And everybody on my show has been asking, can you get Chris Fink on the show? So
no kidding.
this absolutely. So this you were they wanted to get to you before the last show. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Chris, and it's really good to see you.
Yeah, of course. Good to see you as well.
And have a great holiday if I don't see you, and hopefully we'll see you at the national championship game.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll get you some tickets. I know a guy.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
All right, cool. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, Chris. Thanks for being on.
All right, thanks, Coach.
See you, buddy.
Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show. For more than 50 years, Gatorade has fueled the best athletes to rise to the occasion during their biggest moments, from young athletes just starting to turn heads to some of the best athletes to ever play their games. Gatorade shows they are the proven fuel of the best. The best are fueled by the best. Then, now, forever. Nothing beats Gatorade. It is time now for this week's edition of Irishography, presented by Gatorade and hosted by Fighting Irish Media's Sydney Sims. This week, Sydney talks with a defensive lineman who has been getting better and better as this season has progressed, Hawaii native Myron Tungavailoa Amosa.
There's a solid group of Polynesian players on the roster. What is the bond between you all?
It's definitely deeper than the jersey itself. Just being from the Rock, a lot of kids know that not too many people get the opportunities. And so when you see another fellow Polynesian who makes it off the Rock, like, you just become a big family just right there and then. I remember when Maris first came up, now Jordan. It's like every time I see these guys, like, I look at them as both like my little brothers.
How does Notre Dame feel like home to you?
There's so many aspects that I could kind of get at. But I think the two main aspects is just the Notre Dame family and the spiritual atmosphere around here. My faith means so much to me, and so just being surrounded by like that spiritual presence that, you know, the Notre Dame community brings around you, you know, it just means a lot to me. And being from the islands, family is such an important thing. And so just to have that bond and feel that around the Notre Dame community, it definitely means a lot.
Last year, you had a special moment where you got to add on to the Notre Dame Ohana. Can you speak a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was a special one for me. I had the privilege of honoring a fallen soldier, Reed Nishizuka, who was also a Notre Dame alum and from Hawaii. I remember during the game, they had played a video just honoring Reed, and I remember them putting me on the board, and the only thing I could think of to kind of symbolize my love for, you know, Reed and Shizuka Ohana that was recently added on was just throwing up the shaka. The shaka back home can mean a lot of things, but in that moment in time, it was just a sign of love and respect for, you know, Reed and his sacrifices.
What is the legacy that you think that you and the fellow players from Hawaii want to leave here with Notre Dame football?
We definitely want to leave a legacy to where we kind of want people to know in everything that we did, we put God first. We just come from such a spiritual background being from the islands. We definitely want to leave the message to just all Polynesian kids all over the world that, you know, if we're here, you guys can do it too. We serve a God that can work great things for your favor. We just got to keep trusting him, and that's all it is.
That's this week's Irishography, brought to you by Gatorade. We'll be back with more of the Brian Kelly Show right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Brian Kelly Show, presented by TireRack.com, the ultimate in contactless tire buying. You head into the final and most important segment of the season with literally no on-campus distractions. The semester is over. There are no classes. All the other students who are not athletes have gone home. Does this make things easier for this team this month?
Yes, you know, I think at the end of the day, if they're going to handle themselves, you know, in the right manner, it does. But look, we're still in a pandemic, and they still have to handle themselves away from this building the right way. If they're not wearing their mask and practicing social distancing and washing their hands and doing those things, they'll bring COVID into this building, and it won't matter. This thing will shut down. We're seeing that all over the country. Games are being canceled left and right, unfortunately. So not having students around, maybe there's a little bit more of that being away from us, but our guys still have to make good decisions. They have now. We've gone 10 weeks without any issues. So we have reminded them this week about that attention to detail and that kind of focus. But you know, it gives you an opportunity to kind of reinforce it this week with nobody else around, and that they can control all those things. So that's been the message this week.
And while I know this team is continuing its laser focus on the next game against Syracuse, you have also at times, as a team this season, taken a look at the big picture ahead. So give us a look through your eyes at what this team needs to do the rest of this month to achieve its goals.
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, you know, we talked about the offensive line, gain some continuity with the group there. You know, Tommy Kramer is going to be coming back. You know, bringing Tommy back into the mix is going to be important. And then, you know, what the center position is going to look like. You know, you've got Zeke that's played, you know, obviously a very good game. You got Josh Lugg. So getting that kind of situation, you know, more work together. So there's very good continuity there. I think from a defensive standpoint, continue to build on the communication and the fundamentals that we saw on display in the second half against North Carolina. I think if you continue to see that growth, and then obviously the offensive line coming together, this is a very good football team in all phases. You know, I trust the fact that these guys are going to do all the preparation work necessary because they've done that each and every week. I think from a football standpoint, we can then put a team on the field that can do all the things necessary to win each and every week.
Saturday is senior day, and the opponent is a struggling Syracuse team that, however, does seem to be improving and has nothing to lose. What are the keys to playing the way your team needs to play in Game 10 of the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, we know who Syracuse is, and you know, respect the fact that we've got a team that's going to come in here and they're going to play hard. I mean, but this isn't really about us. This is about how we prepare during the week and how we play. That's been the case all year. You know, we can control our own destiny. This is an important game for us. We want to go out there and play at a high level, and continue to build on the things that I've just mentioned. So, you know, we compete going into an ACC championship game. But to do that, you got to beat Syracuse. And if you do that, you clinch the opportunity to play in that championship game. And that's why it's important to play well on Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. Folks, there is plenty of football still to be played by the Fighting Irish, beginning with this Saturday's final 2020 regular season game against Syracuse at Notre Dame Stadium. Kickoff is just after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC, with the pregame show on the Notre Dame Football Radio Network hitting the air at 1:30 p.m. Saturday afternoon. And then Coach and I will return next week at this time for the final 2020 edition of the Brian Kelly Show. Until then, for Coach Kelly, I'm Jack Nolan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Irish.